Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm waiting for the video to start because it's slow kind of starting. So, since this whole streaming thing stopped with um, now Facebook doesn't really allow streaming, and I've tried setting it up with StreamYard so I could stream, and it hasn't really been working out. And so I got to tell Facebook right now that they need to do a little bit better so that we can make ourselves look a little better. Because I could do that with StreamYard and I can do it with Zoom, but I can't do it with this. And that is just not fair. So, um, anyhow, today we are going to talk about, is it actually a time management problem or is it an implementation problem? Because I see this confusion a lot and I want to get into it, okay? So if you are watching this live, please put hashtag live. And if you are watching the replay, please put a hashtag replay in the comments so I can say hello. And I appreciate you coming. It helps with the algorithm and it helps the other people in the group to see this in their feed, because not everybody sees it in their feed, because you know how Facebook works. So, well, they maybe do. But anyway, so I want to, oh, hi, thank you for coming. So I want to just talk about this because I actually visit this particular topic quite a bit. I've done it quite a few times over the last 5 years. And the reason why is because I see this a lot. I see people saying they have a time management problem when really it's an implementation deficit, right? Like they don't quite have the skills to implement. And what I mean by that is they need to actually identify what it is they need to be doing, why they need to do it, how they're doing it, and then how long that's going to take and what the priority is, right? Because if we have too many things that are top priority, like imagine when you create a list, you create a to-do list, if you don't prioritize that to-do list, you end up doing maybe the easy stuff, or you might get so overwhelmed by the whole list that you just blow everything off, right? And so I was just talking to a client actually, and she was saying, I'm exhausted. I just have no time. Like I'm out on a work thing, all week next week. So I'm just like running out of time. And so my recommendation was to actually do her time blocks. And you can get that in my new and improved lead freebie. It's a free guide and it's on my new site. I'm going to put it in the comments right now. You can grab it. It's the freebie that I've had for a long time called Take Charge of Your Time. And I've just added to it, made some improvements on it. And so you can get it at CherylT.com/time. My actual website is CherylTexera.com, but I actually have switched it to Cheryl T, or I've done some redirection and stuff like that to Cheryl T, because nobody spells my name right. So I see I have a little error in there too. I need to change that, the title of that page. But anyway, so that particular guide is going to help you a lot, because it's going to help you understand how to block out your time and then how to leverage that time based on the quality of that time. Because, think about it. You might be helping your kids with homework by, as an example, and they're doing their homework and maybe they don't need you the whole entire time. So you can sit there with them and just be there for them, and they might interrupt you a few times, right? But in general, they're just doing their work. And so unless they were like, my youngest one who was crying and having a tantrum every time he had to do homework. But anyway, if you have a cooperative child and you are able to get them to do their homework and then just ask questions when they need help, then you have this time block. What I call is a yellow time block. And during that period of time, you can work on things, but you aren't necessarily working on things that require high focus time, right? Like you have to be like really entrenched and really don't want distractions. Instead, you want to be working on things that it's okay if you get distracted. And I always think that doing things like creating a Canva template or a Canva design, maybe social media posts or something like that in Canva, are a great thing that you could be doing while you're helping your kids with homework or doing something where you might get distractions, because it's not going to kill you if you're distracted. Whereas writing, anything like that, you may need more focus time, or if you're filming videos or whatever, you need that more focus time. You need time without distractions and stuff like that, right? So, so let's talk about how you can identify those real reasons, right? Why you're struggling. And I think that a lot of it is, personally, is that you're not slating out time to actually work on your business and then sticking to that plan, right? So, especially if you're doing this as a side hustle, whatever it is, maybe you have a job, you're a stay-at-home mom or dad or whatever, and you just don't quite have that system down, right? And remember that we are kind of creatures of habit, right? So creating routine and habits is a really good way for you to start slating out time. And then you color block that time, right? So you color it with green time, which is full on, full, no distractions, full focus time. And then you have the yellow time, which is like, you can have distractions and stuff. And I actually have a red time and a blackout time. And blackout time is that you don't work on your business, right? That's blackout time. You're not at work. You are with your family. You're doing your self-care. You're doing you, right? You're doing you. And so you're doing that. And so that's the blackout time. And then I have what's called red time blocks, and I put that in this new freebie because it's really it really helps you see, like, if you look on a whole calendar, what your time blocks look like and what you're doing with your time, right? So you might have red time, which is like time when you probably wouldn't be working, but if circumstances were right, you might. Or if you had a deadline that you wanted to meet, you might work on it. Or maybe your whole family decides to, go bowling or something, and you're home, and so you decide to work, right? So those are the kinds of things that you can do is actually block out your time like that, so that you have these pockets of time you can depend on. A good example of that for me is I'm usually up by about 5 a.m., sometimes earlier. And don't think I'm some miracle worker. I go to bed very early, but I'd rather do that than just sit in the evenings, because I don't like to work in the evenings. Um, but anyway, I get up really early, and so between 5 and 7 a.m., I have that time dedicated to doing my work. And that's my deep work time. Like, it's time when the rest of the house really isn't up yet, and I have that full focus time when I can really get into it and concentrate on it. Okay, so one of the things that you want to do is start doing your time blocks, and then you want to also make sure you are clear on what you need to do. So let's go back to those time blocks again, right? If you actually use those time blocks when you plan your week, right? Not planning each and every day, not creating due dates for every single day, but working in sprints, meaning you work for the whole week, right? So your deadline isn't midweek. You're like, okay, by the end of the week, I want to have these things done. Or the end of this 2-week sprint, however long your sprint is, right? 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. I kind of work in 4-week sprints now. I used to work in 2-week sprints. I found it easier to manage everything and not have so many things on my plate. But now that I've simplified my business more, I don't have quite as many things on my plate, or I have more. It's just more grouped together and focused and systematized, right? So it's a little bit easier. And that's kind of one of the things you want to start doing, right? Is making sure that you have clarity and then creating systems. But I digress. So the clarity part is really important. So if you look at the Pomodoro technique, they use these little things here where you pick 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes, you're just kind of doing a breathing exercise. And then for the next 50 minutes, you actually do your work. And then at the end, you kind of reflect on what you got done and, maybe take notes and stuff like that, right? Because you're creating a stopping point. And that's one of the things I really like about that Pomodoro technique, because it helps you first take that 5 minutes to get that clarity on what it is you're going to do. And so that's kind of part of that breaking down the work, right? And that's one of the things that I'm really I don't know, I'm kind of I don't know. I do the whip, I crack the whip on people about breaking things down, because a lot of times you have a thing on your list that just seems enormous and overwhelming, right? And then you procrastinate on it, when really, if you just broke it down into different tasks, and maybe even some milestones and stopping points, you might find that most of the things on that list are really easy to do, and you might identify that thing you've been procrastinating on, right? And my guess, it's either a lack of skill, a lack of your mindset around it, or your lack of a tool that you need, right? Because everything's easier if you have the right tool, right? Ask any mechanic. Anything is doable if you have the right tool, right? But that doesn't mean you use every tool in your toolbox, right? So you want to get that clarity on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and you want to get all the noise out of there. Get anything that's going to distract you or overwhelm you out of there, particularly if it's like a nice to have. Get those nice to haves out of there. They aren't necessary. They're just going to slow you down and make things really hard for you to get things done, right? Because they're going to be clogging up your brain power, where you need to actually simplify and focus, right? So you've got this time block now, and now you want to take that one thing. Don't look at your whole list. Just pick the one thing that you're going to do and get that thing done. If you get done early, great. Pick another thing. But don't try to pick too many things to put into those time blocks, because then you'll be overwhelmed, and that'll make it difficult for you to actually focus your time and attention. Okay, so we talked about that, about breaking the work down, but there's another way you can focus your time, and that's by grouping your work into projects, right? When we group our work into projects, then you can block out time when you're going to work on that project instead of a bunch of to-dos, right? So if you think about a Kanban board that you have, remember a Kanban board has 3 columns, right? It can be done on a whiteboard. A lot of your project management softwares have the same type of board. It's got 3 columns: to do, doing, and done. So think about it. If you've got 20 items on that list, you're going to feel more overwhelmed than if you just have 3 projects. And then you slate out time to work on that project, and that's when you open it up to look at the tasks and break it down and prioritize the tasks, estimate how long those tasks are going to take, and then you can get to work, right? So a lot of it is, a lot of times we want to just jump right into getting work done, but when we do that, that's when we start spinning our wheels, right? Because we don't have clear direction. We don't have a clear goal of what it is we're trying to achieve. And by creating projects for your work, and then grouping all the work into those projects, you'll be able to see those goals a little bit better, right? Okay, and then the other thing is communication. Communication is super, super important. When in that guide, in the Take Charge of Your Time guide, I have a printout that you can print out, and you could just laminate it with packing tape, or if you have a laminator, just laminate it. And then you can write on it what time you will be available, and you can put that you're either in green time or in yellow time, and that way even a child will know. I had a client who had a 5-year-old kid, and he understood what green time was, and he knew that he had to come back, and he did a really good job, and it created um, a much easier environment, so mom could get her work done. Right? It wasn't confrontational or anything, it just made everything a lot easier. So that communication is key. The people in your home need to understand your commitment to your business, especially if you're new at this. I know how hard it can be to get your family to take it seriously, right? And then if you don't take it seriously, you're just setting an example for them to not take it seriously. So if you really want this, you've got to take it seriously, and you've got to communicate that commitment to your business with your family, and they will understand. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about the take charge of your time is this is a great tool for even your kids to use. I had a client who has a teenage, well, he's not a teenager anymore, but he was in high school at the time, and she, after we had talked about time blocks and everything, she had gone back and she was telling her family about it, her husband and her son about it, and he said, gosh, I don't have any blackout time. Like, I'm always at sports or at school or doing homework or, practice or whatever. And I just don't have time to just be me and hang out with my friends and, or just hang out in my room. I don't have any time. And so by having this tool, they were able to communicate and talk about that and then block out time for him so he had some downtime, and make sure that he did that because it was affecting his mental health, right? He was getting stressed out and he's just a kid, right? And so it's a great tool. So make sure you download this guide. It's a great tool, and it's a great start to the Take Charge of Your Biz course and that program, because that course will teach you how to manage all your work, get everything through, and then how to start planning your business and creating a plan and then initiating projects for your business. It also has things in it like how to manage your files, right? So you're not spending hours looking for a stupid file that you lost or recreating it and having your download folder just massively overwhelming trying to find stuff. And so it's got that, and then it's got a take charge of your learning guide in there that helps you to manage the way you learn, because if you're like a lot of us, you'll buy something and start in on it and then get off on a tangent, and then you're down a rabbit hole, and next thing you know, you're buying another course and you're all over the place, right? So my course has a system in there to help you manage your learning curve so that you don't end up down that rabbit hole, right? And you actually can, get the objective complete, right? Because that's a lot of times what happens is we end up down a rabbit hole trying to find an answer to an obstacle you're facing, right? Find a solution to an obstacle you're facing. And when we do that, then we can end up, buying a course or, down a rabbit hole, right? And so by having and understanding the way you learn, and having a system for your learning, you can make sure that, one, you don't waste your time and your money on courses that you never do, right? So you don't buy something and then never implement it or never do it. It's like you're tracking exactly what you're doing with that particular course and your progress. Even if it takes you a year to implement it, you're still tracking the progress through that, okay? So anyway, that is a great way for you to really start getting a handle on all the work that you have to do, is that course. And you'll find the information for that course in the Take Charge of Your Time workbook. And that freebie is an actual workbook, so you have some little exercises in it that will help you. So it's not just like a theory, it's like, no, here, do these exercises and you will have a much better week. It really is. It's great. It does a good job. And then, okay, so then one more thing, and that's what I was leading up to with Take Charge of Your Course, is streamlining your workflow, right? How does work flow through your business? How is it initiated in your business? How is it managed in your business? How are you prioritizing? in your business. And all of those things are going to help you with your time management, right? And when you start looking at like, okay, am I blocking out enough time to work on my business? Yes. But am I actually making the most of that time when I sit down to work? No. Then it's probably not a time management problem, right? It's an implementation problem. You see what I'm saying? That's why we do the take charge of your time first and do your time blocks first. Make sure you're slating out the right amount of time. Now, if you're slating out time and you're not showing up, that's a whole nother thing, right? That's a time management problem. Probably you're blowing it off, right? You're not committing to your business. If you're slating out the time and you sit there and stare at your computer not knowing what to do, that's because you need to create a little implementation plan. And it could be a mini plan for that block of time, right? Of what you're going to do, just like the Pomodoro technique, where you take that 5 minutes, breathe a little, focus in on what you're going to do, and then implement. And spend that whole time focused on that one thing. No phones, no distractions, nothing. You can't believe how much more you will get done. And by the way, I have a special invitation for you. If you are watching this, you can DM me. I am actually participating in a new collaboration with a bunch of other coaches, and we are doing Pomodoro. So what we're doing is we're creating manpower for a set number of hours during the week to do work hours. And my work hours are at noon on Mondays and at noon on Tuesdays Pacific time. And so if you would like to come join me for an hour of Pomodoro technique, please let me know. Send me a DM or just put Pomodoro in the comments and I will get back to you. And you'll get a free invitation. You can come for free for the first couple of times. And we're still working out the details on that exactly, but I'd love to have you come and join me next Monday or next Tuesday at noon Pacific time for a Pomodoro work session. There's no coaching involved in there, but it's really just designed to help you dedicate your time and focus on something to see if you can be more productive. And so let me know if you want to be invited. All right, so anyway, back to the main topic is it a time management problem or an implementation problem? Remember how to do that. Block out your time. If you show up and you don't get anything done and you don't get the work done, it's probably because you have an implementation problem. You need to focus your time and energy on one specific task at a time and put the other stuff away. That's why the take charge of your time blocking system and the take charge of your biz work management system is going to help you to do all of that, right? So you make sure that you are slating out the time and then breaking down that work or grouping that work into projects so that you have a more streamlined workflow for your business, right? And then if you need any help on what to do, you're not sure what to do with your business, maybe you've launched a business or you've started a business, but you really don't know what to do to, get it set up, get all the pieces in place and then start getting, building an audience and getting clients. Let me know in the comments. Just say, just put a little hand raise emoji or a fire emoji. I love fire emojis. So if you want to get some help, let me know because I can definitely help you. What I do with my clients is help them set a blueprint for their business that's customized to their business, and then we start working to fill in all the pieces of that blueprint so you have the foundation of your business all set up, including the way you manage work through your business and creating that high level 10 years, this is where I want to be, this is what I'm working toward, and that's my pie in the sky, perfection business, and then we just create that blueprint and start working towards that. And so that is it. So Let me know if this was helpful. If you think that you have a time management problem, Take Charge of Your Time is going to really help you fix that problem. And if you have an implementation problem, the Take Charge of Your Biz can help you a lot. That whole course is really, really good in helping you get everything aligned and get your foundation of work management and work direction in place. And then if you need help implementing, that's where my programs come in, because that's what I do, is help my clients implement the strategies and the plans that we create together. All right, I hope that helps, and I will see you guys in the comments. Bye.